Hello, friendos and bendos, it's me, Z, and with the news that the Wonder Woman movie is currently being written for the new DCU, I'm incredibly excited, and so many other people are. And one of the big discussions that's being had right now is, what should Wonder Woman's costume be in the new live-action movie? Well, I have an opinion on that, so I'm gonna share it. And this video is unscripted. I just wanna just get my opinions off the dome. I have this PowerPoint guiding me, but aside from that, there's no script on this video. This is just gonna be a yap session about my thoughts on Wonder Woman's costume design and how it should be implemented in the new DCU, because I do have a very particular opinion on Wonder Woman's costume. Alright, so first of all, let's go over the design elements of Wonder Woman's costume. So, in my opinion, there are 5 distinct elements of a Wonder Woman costume. That's the top, that's the thing that she wears on her torso. Then you have the bottom, that's what she wears, below the waist. Then you have the iconography, things like the Golden Eagle or the W. And then you have the colors, which, red, yellow, blue, what have you, and then you have the accessories, which is all the stuff, tiara, bracelets, boots, that sort of stuff. So those are the elements of a typical Wonder Woman costume, and they change over time and depending on what you're going for. And let's look at the original Wonder Woman costume to see what they had in mind, and then build off of that. All right, so Wonder Woman's original, Wonder Woman's top has basically stayed the same for 80 years now. It really has not changed aside from the iconography used on it, where it's the eagle or the W or a combination of both. But the top has stayed the same, and that's for good reason. Wonder Woman's costume, her top, is very much a dominatrix bustier, or is it a corset? I have no idea what the difference is, but it's very clearly a dominatrix bustier, and that's not me reaching or anything. Like, that is very much the intention that William Moulton Marston and H.G. Peter were going for, because of Marston wanting to combine his philosophy and his kink were combined. Like, he very much viewed BDSM and his philosophy as the same thing. He thought that BDSM was something to attribute to everyday life. He thought it could be attributed in everyday life, and so he put a lot of that element in his comic that we see in a lot of stuff, like Wonder Woman's Golden Lasso, for instance. The fact that she was always tying people up, that she was always being tied up, tons of that is in Wonder Woman's costume design, and it's very much in her top. It's a dominatrix bustier, but there's a reason for it aside from William Moulton Marston thinking it was hot, because the reason a dominatrix's bustier looks like that is threefold. First of all, strength, alright? A bustier shows off the arms, the shoulders, the back, all of these strong muscles that are associated with somebody who's like strong, somebody who can lift stuff, somebody who can punch hard. A dominatrix bustier shows off all of that, not necessarily because, the character or the dominatrix is going to be punching you, but because the dominatrix wants to highlight their strength, their upper body strength, which is something that is an aura of power, you know what I mean? The shape language of, okay, I'm large and in charge, like what I mean, like a kind of like how a snake, like how a cobra, has those skin flaps that like extends out, and it's hissing, like hiss, you know what I mean? But then you also have the second element, which is femininity. All right, the bustier very much highlights the breast. You know what I mean? Like, there's no two ways about it. All right, her costume highlights her tits. All right, that's not a wild claim to make. All right, but there's a reason for it. There's a reason for it, and what that reason is the femininity of it. Right? Women have boobs. Women have boobs, right? I mean, regardless of the size, a woman can be flat, a woman can be busty, but the difference between, when a woman is in public and a man is in public, when a man is shirtless, nobody gives a shit. When a woman is shirtless, even if she's the flattest woman in the world, everybody loses their mind, you know what I mean? And that is very much why the bustier shows off the boobage, you know what I mean? It shows it off because it wants you to know, hey, I'm a woman, and these are my womanly traits, you know what I mean? But then it combines it with the musculature, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm a woman, but I'm also strong. And it's not that I'm strong in spite of being a woman, it's I'm strong and I am a woman, you know what I mean? It's a very much I'm showing this off so you know that I'm a woman, and I'm showing this off so you know that I'm strong, so now I'm a strong woman. But then you have the third context, which is sexualization, right? And this is going to be a theme that I'm going to talk about a lot in this video, which is sexualization. Is neither necessarily good nor bad. It can be used either good or badly depending on the execution, right? Because you can either be sexualized in the sense of you're in charge of your sexuality, or you can be sexualized in it's just for the male gaze, you know what I mean? Or just for anybody's gaze, I guess. And very much in a dominatrix's bustier, it is for being in charge of one's own sexuality, because, well, boobs are sexualized. We can't escape that either, okay? We cannot escape that, boobs are sexualized. A woman posts a picture on social media, and intentionally or not, whether it's intentionally made to arouse or not, tons of dudes in the comments are going to be like, ugh, humana, you know what I mean? And the bustier is very much designed to highlight the boobs, not only because it's, a feminine trait, but also because it's sexy. Boobs are hot. People find boobs hot. But by highlighting the boobs and then highlighting the musculature, just like how it's saying I'm feminine and I'm strong with the first part, now it's saying I'm sexy and I'm strong and I'm in charge of my sexiness. I'm sexy, but you can look, but you can't touch. I'm in charge of that, all right? No matter what, you cannot control my sexuality. I'm in charge of that. That's what it's designed to invoke. It's this three-way trifecta of strength, femininity, and sexuality, right? You're in charge of your sexuality through the strength, and you're showing that femininity and strength can coexist as well. You know what I mean? But that's the core idea of Wonder Woman wearing a dominatrix bustier, and it is just such an incredible piece of costume design, in my opinion, of character design. It is so amazing, and it's the reason why Wonder Woman's top has not changed for most of these 80 years. Like, sure, occasionally she'll put on a different outfit, she'll put on a jacket maybe, but aside from in Elseworlds, in the main continuity, her top has not changed, aside from, what's on it. The top itself has not changed. And that is, in my opinion, just incredible proof of costume design. Next up is her bottoms, right? Originally, Wonder Woman wore a skirt. There might be a different name for it. There's either a different name for the skirt or a different name from the shorts that she wore after this. But in the Golden Age, she wore a skirt. And this was for several different reasons. First of all, women wear skirts. That's the first big deal about it. Women wear skirts. Wonder Woman was made to be this very much female superhero. Her entire thing is that she's a woman, and she's coming to man's world, and she's going to show you the ways of womanhood because she's a woman. And so wearing a skirt is a very much proof of, hey, the shape language of, hey, this character is highlighting, just how feminine they are. They're wearing a skirt, not pants. They're wearing a skirt. And I think it's very effective, obviously, in that sense, But there's also the next thing, which is shape language. We'll talk about this a bit later, but the shape language of the skirts are wide. They're wide, they can billow, skirt goes spinny and it's fucking poofs out, you know what I mean? That's what skirts do. And skirts, and because Diana, she has her top, her shoulders and arms, like I said, are highlighted, but then you go down and then you have the skirt, and the skirt offers another chunk of shape to the body, you know what I mean? And it offers this sort of, again, like the example I gave of the snake, the wideness, this this domineering force, that's taking up space and you can't do anything about it. And that's why the skirt is so effective, not only because, it's a clear sign of femininity, but also because it's taking up space. Next up, we have the accessories. Like I said, her tiara, it's pretty obvious she's a princess. The tiara has not changed. Then you have the her boots and her bracelets. The bracelets are cuffs. They're cuffs that were chained together, and in lore, they're cuffs that were chained together and broken away, and now they're a symbol that the Amazons wear that they'll never be chained again. Right? That's the in-universe explanation. But the out of universe in inspiration is both two-way. One, in universe, yes, out of universe, yes, it's to show that they've broken from bondage. The Amazons have broken from bondage. That's very intense character design to have these metal bracelets, but they're not connected. It's like this character was once chained, but now they're free. But then there's the second aspect, which is again the kinky aspect, which is that bondage. Like this is a character who was bonded, but now they're free, and it's kind of this in this BDSM way that Marston would have it. It's like to show that the Amazons, they are the top of the hierarchy in the BDSM space. Same thing with her boots. Her boots are very clearly dominatrix boots. High up, high heeled. Step on me, Dami Mommy, whatever, what have you. And it's, again, supposed to show that Diana is, large and in charge, you know what I mean? All of these elements are made to show that Diana is strong. She's strong, in charge of her body, in charge of her sexuality, and in charge of her femininity, in charge of all this stuff. It goes to show this just huge amount of strength. It's the same reason why Superman and Batman wear underwear on the outside of their pants, like a circus strongman. It's just supposed to show like this. It's supposed to show definition. You know what I mean? And I just really like it. It's just really good character design. Next up, the iconography. Golden Age Wonder Woman. She wore an eagle on her torso, and her skirt had a bunch of stars on it. And this is because it's America. Golden Age Wonder Woman was very much American propaganda. And that's not, they were fighting in World War II. They needed, we need to, show off, our American values. So Wonder Woman came in with all this American iconography on her, and she's fighting Nazis a bunch in her stories. And, there's nothing wrong with fighting Nazis, but the entire deal of her costume and her costume's iconography is supposed to exemplify Americanness. She's not from America, but she came to America and adopted the American symbols and the American colors, red, white, and blue. She also has, the yellow there as well. And this both does double duty of, double duty of American colors, but also bright, popping primary colors. Again, pay attention to many colors. The same reason why most superheroes wear, some combination of red, blue, yellow, some combination of these colors, because they're bright and colorful and they just pop off the page. It's really good. Overall, in my opinion, Wonder Woman's Golden Age costume is genuinely a masterclass in costume design. Just looking at this character, you can tell everything they're going for. Right? It's a woman in charge of her, a powerful woman who knows what she's doing, who's coming and is like, hey, I'm doing this. I'm a strong person. I'm a hero. I'm in charge. Let's do this thing. And it's also an element of there's some sexuality there, but they're in charge of it. There's the high heeled boots and the showing off her bust, but also not taking away from her strength. And I really like that. That is so good. But now let's focus in on different elements of her costume. So like I said, the top hasn't changed over the course of these 80 years, but the bottom has changed. The skirts in the Silver Age was changed to shorts or even hot pants, and I like this. I like this a lot. It's also feminine in a way because it's showing off her legs more and showing off her butt more, but it's also sporty and athletic. It's yes, I'm feminine, but I'm also, I'm also active. I'm also sporty. It's cute but strong, and I really like that, honestly. It's cute but strong is also a very Wonder Woman thing, because again, Wonder Woman is a woman of passion, of love, of peace, of kindness. The hot pants or shorts, they don't take up as much space as the skirt, but they do allow Wonder Woman to do this like this little cutesy kind of thing, but not like cute in a, oh, I'm demure, I'm small kind of way, but in a, I'm approachable type of way, and I like that. It works with the bustier as well, because there's this there's this huge. I'll talk about this when we get into the third option, which is in the Bronze Age, Wonder Woman started wearing essentially briefs, right? She started to wear essentially briefs. It started, I believe, in Woman's Magazine. On the cover of Woman's Magazine, her hot pants were made to be a lot shorter, and it eventually, I don't know if it was intended to be briefs then, but in the comics, it very much became she was wearing briefs. And I don't know if this is a hot take, but I do not like Wonder Woman in the briefs. I do not like it at all. And there's a lot of reasons for this. And one is what I was talking about earlier, which is sexualization, right? There's good sexualization and there's bad sexualization. The good sexualization was her top. Her top, it showed off her bust, but it also showed off her muscles, her arm muscles, her back muscles. So it went, hey, I'm sexy, but I'm also strong. And because I'm strong, you can't, take advantage of me sexually. You can't make fun of me. You can't, belittle me because of my sexuality, because I'm strong. You know what I mean? But then you have the briefs, and it's like, what is this supposed to engage you with about the character? Showing off more leg, sure, I mean, the hot pants showed off leg, but then you just take that, you even show off more leg, you accentuate the butt even more, you have a V shape pointing straight at the vajayjay, straight at the wondussy, and you're like, what is it supposed to say? It's supposed to say, this character, it's, in my opinion, expressing much more sexuality than strength, right? Because the skirt was showing off femininity, but it was also showing off a wide stance, right? Same thing with the shorts. They were cute, but they were sporty. The briefs, in my opinion, they're sexy, but are they showing strength? And the reason for this, again, is shape language. Now we're getting to shape language, which I was talking about. Look at this diagram for a bit, all right? Look at this diagram for a bit on the shape language of the costume, with the skirt, with the shorts, and with the briefs, okay? Look at it and tell me what you think of each of them. The skirt and the shorts, they're very blocky, you know what I mean? Like, they're very blocky, they're very wide, they're very menacing, a bear, stands up and looks wide and it's like, grrr, you know what I mean? That's what they are. The briefs, it's much more tight. It's tight, and it's small, and it's constricting, and you look at this, you look at the first two and you're like, okay, this is more strong. You look at the third one and you're like, this is a tiny person. This is a tiny, demure. Do people even say demure anymore? It was a trend for like a month, I think. But it was, it's tiny, it's constricting, it's screaming to me weak, you know what I mean? And it just doesn't feel right for Wonder Woman to me, because Wonder Woman should feel larger than life. This one, it feels like you're putting her in a tight, skimpy costume, and it's sexy, but you're not aware of what that means. There's no space being taken up anymore. There is just the sexiness of it, and I'm not a fan, you know what I mean? And I understand, the take of, it's taking back, the sexuality. But remember, the other two, they were able to do that while still, exemplifying space or athleticism. This is just taking away all of that, for just reasons of, it's harder, I guess, right? But it's the same reason why I think that, red is better than pink, you know what I mean? Like, pink is an overtly feminine color, right? If you really wanted Wonder Woman to be, a paragon of femininity, you think, oh, I dress her in pink. But there's a reason that you don't do that, and it's because pink, while yes, it's feminine, it's also very much, due to, tons of decades of social conditioning by media and, generation, and, the older generations, pink is very much associated now with weakness, with being, with sexuality, with this kind of idea of this, California girl, I guess, she fucking bimbo, head empty kind of stuff, you know what I mean? And sure, while yes, you could have Wonder Woman wear pink and, show off her femininity, the color, what it does is it also makes her feel Like, the color language makes her feel, less strong, right? And it's the same reason that I'm not a big fan of the briefs. I hope that made sense in any sort of way. I'm like, maybe I should have scripted this video, I'm not sure. And a third reason that I don't like the briefs is just, even if it was able to show off, maybe even if it was able to show off that Wonder Woman was in charge of her sexuality. Let's say that it is. Has it been drawn that way by people over the years? Most Wonder Woman artists have been men, right? And over the years, I've read Wonder Woman comics, and seen them progress over the years. And I swear to God, every goddamn run, the briefs get tighter and skimpier to the point where it's just like in fucking William Ezra Loeb's and Mike Deodato's run. The thing was just, it was basically a thong. She was basically wearing a thong. It was crazy. The whole Wundussy was out, honestly.
You think this is funny?
In a cosmic sort of way, yes.
Well, Mr. Funny Man, is this how you get your sick kicks?
What? It's just an ordinary crabby. Oh my goodness! Squidward!
And in my opinion, even if the briefs were a strong piece of character design, which I don't think they are, even if they are now an excuse for artists to just make Wonder Woman eye candy. You know what I mean? Like, even if they weren't, in my opinion, making Wonder Woman seem smaller, making her seem feminine without also highlighting her strength, and just, in that case, making it so that the societal definition of feminine equaling weak, not counteracting that, even if that wasn't the case, it's just an excuse for, artists to just make her sexy, and that's it. And again, there's time for sexiness, like I said, but there's also, you have to realize that sexiness can also harm a character that's supposed to be exemplifying strength, but now you're just, they're you're supposed to like look at them and drool and you're like, ooh, that's all that there is to be. I'm not a fan of the briefs for that reason, but there's also a reason that's kind of the same reason I'm not a fan of the pants. It's kind of going in the opposite direction, right? I mean, pants are unisex, right? To have your premier female character, the premier female superhero, wear a very much unisex piece of clothing, to me it's hiding away from the fact that the character is feminine, right? And it's just one of those things where it's like, I am not so sure that we should be doing this, right? Like, clearly the pants are done because you're like, oh, the shorts and the panties, you're too sexual, you gotta tone down the sexuality. But then you tone down the sexuality, but now what you've done? Now look at what you've done. You've taken away her very overtly feminine design, right? And it's just not good in my opinion. Like, even in, I believe the New 52 design originally had pants, but then they took it away for the briefs. And it's like, both of them I'm not a fan of, because the pants design, it's taking away her femininity, but the New 52 design with the briefs, it is so fucking tight. It's so fucking comically tight and small, and I don't like either of the New 52 designs, and I don't like the Odyssey design that much. And I don't like the pants, I don't like the briefs. We had something going on with the skirt, we had something going on with the hot pants, but we don't have anything going on with these last two. But the battle skirts. I adore the battle skirt, because it does, again, it does this thing where it's like a skirt is overtly feminine, but now you've made it a battle skirt. It's wide, it's large, and it's a signifier that this character is strong, that they're a warrior. And Wonder Woman's not only a warrior, obviously. People have this misconception that Diana is all punch, stab, stab, grr, grr, grr. That's not her at all, right? But you have to know that even with, on the opposite end, even though Wonder Woman is an ambassador for peace, she's loving, she's compassionate, she's all of that, she is also a warrior, right? And so having her wear a battle skirt highlights that. She's a warrior for peace. She has to show both of that. And just like how the bustier is showing off her overt femininity and sexuality while still showing strength, the skirt, being a battle skirt, shows off her femininity while also showing off that she's a strong warrior. And it does this other thing, right? Where, in ancient Greece, right, pretty much in every culture before, like, I want to say like 1700s, the 1800s, maybe even the 19, I'm not sure, but for most of history, a skirt was a unisex piece of clothing, right? Like men and women wore skirts. It wasn't a big deal whether you're a man or woman who wore a skirt, right? But over time, a skirt became more and more feminine. It became more and more associated with being a woman. Nowadays, if you're a man and you wear a skirt, everybody fucking screams. You know, you're like, you're hating on my societal gender norms. You're crazy. You know what I mean? And it's like, I think Wonder Woman wearing a traditional Greek battle skirt does this thing where, in modern day, it's seen as feminine, but in ancient Greece, it was just a normal piece of clothing that any person of any gender could wear. Wonder Woman wears this battle skirt, comes into the man's world, and she's wearing this piece of clothing. She's like, okay, I'm just wearing a piece of clothing. But now everybody looks at her and it's like, oh, that's a woman wearing a woman's piece of clothing. It's like, now that's a thing that she has to comprehend with, that this piece of clothing that she's wearing, that she just thinks it's a unisex piece of clothing. Now she's saying, oh, now this clothing marks me as a woman. You know what I mean? And I very much like that dynamic. It's just incredibly good in my opinion, and it makes the battle skirt, in my opinion, her best. It's just an updated version of her original skirt look, but with added context. It's more historical, and also showcases how society has changed from having so many unisex pieces of clothing to now women and men are so separate in what they can how they can express themselves. And I really like the battle skirts for that reason. Now let's go on to the iconography. So the eagle over time changed to a W, but then the W incorporated the eagle design a bit back in. But then in New 52, it just became a W again. But as a rebirth, it went back to a W with a bit of an eagle in it. And I really like the W with the eagle in it. Obviously, I don't like that, Wonder Woman, I think that Wonder Woman, she was created at a time where, American propaganda, they needed to push all this propaganda, American propaganda, because, again, we're fighting the Nazis, all right? You had to do it, all right? But now, in modern day, American imperialism takes on a much different stance, you know what I mean? Like, I look at Wonder Woman, and I look at the eagle, and I'm like, that's clearly American, and it's like, do we need, like, overt Americanism in the design? And so the change to the W is good, but I think adding in that eagle design to call back to the original Golden Age design is still good. I think you need to respect the past while looking forward to the future. You tone down the eagle, but you don't remove it, you know what I mean? Same reason that I'm okay with the stars on her outfit, on her battle skirt. I like that there are fewer stars now, but I still think that the stars should be there just because they were originally there. They're part of history, you know what I mean? And then now, we also have the accessories. So her tiara and her manacles, her bracelets have not changed, but the boots have. They've removed the heels to go for a much flatter look, and I am actually a big fan of that, because on one hand, yes, I said before that, it's part of the design, a dominatrix boots, it's, make them taller, it makes them hotter, it's this combination of strength and sexuality, but like, in battle, that is not practical. That is just not practical if you're having a fight. Character design has to serve also, I feel, a bit of functionality as well, right? Even if it's strong character design to have her be wearing these strong, high-heeled dominatrix boots, as a warrior, as a fighter, even beyond just being a Greek warrior, even just being a superhero, wearing high heels is not practical. And because of that, I really like the fact that they kept the, obviously the boots go up high, but now they don't have the heels anymore, the high heels anymore, and I like that. Finally, though, we have the colors, and the colors have not changed. They're good colors, like I said, red, blue, white. Sure, they're American, but they're also poppy. They're also, they also pop out of the page. They show this character is vibrant, they're strong, they're main character energy, right? And because of that, I am not a fan of how the New 52 gave her silver instead of gold. I actually fucking hate it. I actually really hate it. It might actually genuinely be my most hated Wonder Woman redesign of all time, the New 52 design, because it both has the briefs and it's silver, and it's like, that just takes off so much color, so much enthusiasm from the costume. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing, man? Like, Wonder Woman is now less of a character. She feels so much blander, and I don't like it. You know what I mean? It feels so bland. It feels so characterless. You know what I mean? I just don't like it. And so now you have my opinion, right? My favorite, I think her top is perfect. I like the W with a bit of an eagle. I like the battle skirt the most. I like the flat boots. And obviously, you know, her tiara and bracelet should stay there, iconic and integral parts of her character design. And so, because of that, you obviously realize that my favorite Wonder Woman design is her current design. Seriously, I think it's perfect. I think the current Wonder Woman design really should not change. Like, aside from, you know, events or, you know, changing status quo, like, oh, new status quo, but you obviously know it's going to change in 6 months, you know? But aside from those, Wonder Woman's costume design right now is perfect. It is perfect. It's the fucking Homelander meme. It's perfect. Down to every last detail. Maybe I should play the clip. I don't know. But I really do believe that Wonder Woman's current costume design is perfect, and it should not change. It's just, they iterated upon it, and they iterated upon it, and then they hit the ceiling, and it's like, okay, that's great. Let's keep it that way. Alright? But now, let's go into a few other Wonder Woman designs, not from the comics. Well, from the comics and not from the comics. The first of which being her live-action design. Her Wonder Woman 1984 look is, in my opinion, a perfect live-action look. Like, you could make the colors a little bit brighter and add on the stars and definitely change the tiara. But aside from that, the 1984 costume was perfect. Really, like, James Gunn, if you're listening to this video, do not change the Wonder Woman 1984 costume to anything different aside from a few tweaks, because like it's perfect the way it is. Like, maybe if you want to, you could give her the hot pants, you know what I mean, or more traditional skirts, you know. But I personally, I'm a big fan of the Wonder Woman 1984 costume. I've still yet to watch that Wonder Woman 1984 movie, but the costume itself, really good. I loved it. And I believe it's also the costume that she wore in her other appearances in the DCEU after Wonder Woman 1984. So, like, DC, you got that costume on lock. It's perfect. Just keep it, man. But the Justice League and the BVS design, I am not as big as a fan. 2 reasons. One, first of all, the colors are not as vibrant. I do not like the colors being muted. Like I said before with Wonder Woman and her silver in the New 52, Wonder Woman should stick out. She should pop off the page or pop off the screen. Her colors being muted for the sake of realism is not good. And same thing with the straps, like the brown leather straps to hold like swords. It's not good. Not good. Keep that away, please. Like I said before, Wonder Woman, she's a warrior for peace, but there has to be that line. And in my opinion, Wonder Woman using a sword is not good. I don't like when Wonder Woman uses a sword or overt weaponry, you know, aside from her lasso, unless it's like in a, like, she's fighting a monster, you know, she's like legit fighting a war, you know. Aside from that, Wonder Woman should not be using conventional weaponry. And because of that, the brown strap, not only does it clash with the design, you know, it's this fucking piece of brown above the fucking shit stain on the thing, you know what I mean, but it's also like it shows that she's gonna be having a weapon, and I'm not a big fan of that. Okay, next up is the 90s biker design. The 90s biker design, I'm ambivalent towards it, because on one hand, it should not be the permanent costume of Wonder Woman, but on the other hand, it was never meant to be. You know, the entire storyline was Artemis is a new Wonder Woman, she's wearing Wonder Woman's costume, and then Wonder Woman herself is now this new 90s edgy design, you know, this rebel design. And it's like, for that purpose, I actually quite like the costume. I think it's a very good, like, you know, edgy rebel 90s design, but at the same time, it still goes a bit too 90s. Like, you could tone it down a bit more, right? But for a temporary costume, for what it is not bad, alright? Like, if it was a permanent design, I would hate it, but for a temporary costume, it's not bad. And finally, Jesus Christ, I need to speak words properly. Finally, her Absolute design. I love the Absolute Wonder Woman design so much, because now you're doing this thing where you're, again, since it's an alternate universe design, right, I give it a lot more leeway, right? If the Absolute Wonder Woman design was the main universe design, I critique it a lot harsher, but because this is an alternate universe, you know, Diana's raised in hell, you know what I mean? Her society, the Amazons, are lost. Doing this obsidian, blood red armor, you know what I mean? The silver works here because, you know, Wonder Woman's not trying to, you know, pop out the page like a traditional superhero. She's a warrior, you know what I mean? Because of that, her top, it's similar, but like it's very much more armored, you know what I mean? Like her costume was never like a leotard before, but now it's a very clearly much more armored. And I like that a lot. The tattoo is great. Overall, just the Absolute Wonder Woman design is just peak. It's peak, and I love it, and it's just, honestly, similarly to how I think the current Wonder Woman design in the comics should not change, the Absolute Wonder Woman design also does not need to change either. But those are my takes. That's my take on the Wonder Woman costume debate. In my opinion, they should stick with the costume that they had at the late period of DCEU, but just like freshen it up a bit more, change the tiara, that's really it. And aside from that, that's really my opinion. You know, battle skirt, yay. Briefs, no. Hot pants, okay. Skirt, okay. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Wow, this video is 35 minutes. Okay, Jesus Christ. Alright, that's been it for me, Z. I hope that you enjoyed this yapping session. Because I kind of did. I honestly did. Like, I was kind of regretting this video in the middle of it, but now that I'm thinking about it, I did enjoy this. So, I don't know, that's been it for me, Z, and I'll see you next time. Bye.